Holy fuck, what is going on? Konami has been refusing to drop a TCG ban list for the past 28 years, it feels like. But suddenly, after having a new MD ban list drop roughly 2 weeks ago, we have another new Master Duel ban list, and it comes with some other wild announcements as well. Full disclosure, I have seen the list already. This is not going to be a live, fresh reaction, but I have thoughts about it, and I will say right off the bat, I am so happy they were willing to make another ban list so soon after the first one. I think people liked the changes, but weren't satisfied, and I really am happy that Konami was willing to make more changes so fast in order to improve the game. And let me tell you, I think this does improve the game. Let's take a look. First off, right at the top, Crystron fucking Halqifibrax is dead. It has been killed, it is banned, it is gone, and thank fucking god for that. This card should be banned in TCG2, it should never be allowed to see the light of day again. It just enables so much stupid stuff, and I am incredibly happy MD has chosen to hit this. I love this decision. That is the only ban, but don't worry, there is some limits and semi-limits to add to the list. If there was only going to be one ban, though, this is just about the best one. And by some limits, I mean there's one limit. It's Water Enchantress. That's a little bit interesting. It makes Adventurer Engine honestly pretty bad, if I had to guess, right? Like, now you only have 3 copies of Artemisia, between 1 Enchantress, 2 Right. That seems very bricky when you're playing a 50-50 starter to brick ratio. I think it might still be playable in certain decks that are consistent enough to not care about the bricks, but honestly, we might not be seeing much Adventurer in Master Duel going forward, which I'm fine with. I do think the Adventurer engine is very frustrating to play against, and I'm not mad to see it go. Now, semi-limits normally don't do much of anything, but we got some spicy semis this time. First of all, Rivalry goes in. Fantastic hits. Wouldn't mind seeing these hit harder, but most decks that play Rivalry or Gozen play both, which means semi-limiting takes off a couple additional floodgates, which I think is quite relevant. Now decks can only play 2 Skill Drain, 2 Rivalry, 2 Gozen. The chances that they're going to be able to hit you with multiple floodgates on at once is much less likely now. That's a great change. And then a whole bunch of cards that were at 1 have been moved up to 2. Raigeki is totally fine. It's at 3 in TCG and does nothing. This could go to 3 today. Trishula, in theory, enables loops. I don't love this coming back, but in practice they're too clunky to really see play, so it's fine. Then Meity is really cool. Wind Up, I think, is a really sick deck that can do some wild combos. Really happy they're getting some love. Wish we could have this in TCG. ABC makes a lot of sense. Can't believe it's still been limited. Same with Light Stage. Red Reboot, I'm not so sure about. This card, I think, is honestly dumb and should be banned. Right? It just completely hoses an entire card type for no reason, and it's so frustrating to lose to. But on the other hand, in Master Duel, in a best-of-1 format, I do think this card is too conditional to see play, so I don't think it matters that much, but I really don't like that change. Now here is a change that's gonna make a difference. Dino, Wrestler, Pankratops to 2. Now, I don't know if all of you were playing Yu-Gi-Oh! When Pankratops was at 3, but let me tell you, Pankratops is an insane fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Card. It is one of the best generic going second cards ever printed. This going to 2 is absolutely nuts. I don't know if it'll be good or bad for the game overall. I kind of like them encouraging people to go second, but there's also buffed dumb OTK decks like Numeron and things like that. So it's a little bit weird. I don't know how I feel about it. I think at base I'm not a huge fan of this change, but I'm willing to be proven wrong. I do think it would be cool if there were more viable blind second decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Quick Fix is a little scary too. Quick Fix was the only Spiral card on the ban list, and now it's up to 2 rather than 1. I think that deck has probably still been power crept enough to not really be playable, but that's a little spooky. Double Iris does nothing, and August Harpora is a dub for August Cobras but does nothing. Same as the Unlimits of Beginning of the End and Harmonizing Magician. Both of these are perfectly fine. Same as before, these are going to be able to be disenchanted for 4 crafting points, which is very nice. So yeah, that is the ban list, and overall, I think it is fucking fantastic. Talc ban alone is enough to carry this, but Water Enchantress is a good hit. Floodgate hits are good. Pretty much all of these semi-limits are good choices, outside of a couple questionable ones, but even those I think are fine. I'm really happy with this list. Right now, I think the only really egregious thing is, like, maybe... what's it called? I mean, Max C, obviously, but I think we have to accept Max C is never gonna get hit because Master Duel is based on the OCG. Other than that, it's really only Verte, which isn't too scary right at this moment. And then maybe something like Fluanderies, but that deck's about to get power crept pretty hard, so... honestly, I think this is a great list. But, dear viewer, this is not all. No, there's some other announcements here. The Synchro Exceeds Festival, whatever, but there is some really relevant stuff. Which is this. So Konami, in a few days on the 19th, is releasing a spellbook structure deck, and along with it, just quietly, they're putting Spellbook of Judgment back to 1, and releasing it in the structure deck. Now that is such an interesting change. Spellbook of Judgment, I think, has been one of the most controversial cards on the ban list, one that some people are convinced can never come back, and other people think could come back to 3 and do absolutely nothing. I think I am more in the latter camp. Spellbook of Judgment, don't get me wrong, is an incredibly powerful card. It can let you go something crazy like +5 in the end phase and summon a floodgate that locks you out of special summoning. That's really good, but I think in this day and age, it's not good enough at 1. It's pretty slow because you can't use the cards you search until the next turn. The spellbook as a deck doesn't have a great time playing through hand traps, and even if you do get the turn 1 Jaugen, that's only one monster you need to worry about. This deck can't really end on any other scary bosses, so one hand trap, one board breaker gets you right back into the game. I'm honestly a huge fan of this. I think it's really cool to try bringing back this old card from a long time ago, and see if it can give this kind of forgotten deck a new day in the sun. The weird thing is, as of release, Judgment is not in any packs and can't be crafted. You can only get it through the structure deck, which is a really weird release plan. But it does say here, we'll make an announcement regarding its inclusion in master packs and stuff at time of implementation. What I'm guessing that means is the third announcement, which says that as of the 30th, when the new ban list drops, you will be able to craft, I'm assuming, all forbidden cards. I'm assuming at that point, Spellbook of Judgment will become able to be crafted, and I think in general, this change is very cool too. This doesn't quite mean we can play alt formats in Master Duel, mainly because we can't use old erratas of cards, so, for example, for Edison format, not having old Future Fusion matters a lot. Not having old Raikou, which works slightly differently, is relevant. But you can play Edison in Master Duel now, and it will mostly work. You will be able to play Trunade, Heavy Storm, Cold Wave, all of the banned power cards that define those formats. Although erratas do make some things hard, right? Like Brianak and Goyo being errata may make that impossible, but hey, I still think this is a really great change to enable people to come up with new, interesting formats that we can play in Master Duel. So all in all, I think this is a great fucking day to be playing Master Duel. The new ban list is really good. We have now dealt with the vast majority of the problem cards in the format. Spellbook of Judgment coming back is a really interesting and unexpected change to the game that I'm happy to see happen. Being able to generate forbidden cards unlocks a whole lot of new possibilities for how to play the game. And most importantly, the Synchro Xyz Festival is bringing a Quillbolt Hedgehog mate, and god am I excited to get that little guy. So yeah, I've been playing a little bit more Master Duel recently than I had before, and honestly it feels fantastic for maybe the first time since launch to honestly say, I am excited to play Master Duel going forward. Sure, the fact that we're still so behind on card releases is a downer, but I think there are fun decks available, and doing cool stuff like enabling spellbooks and windups that aren't playable in TCG is an interesting way to keep things fresh, even though we don't have all the new cards. So that's gonna be the end of the video. Let me know in the comments what you think, if you agree with my assessment of the list, or if you think I'm stupid and actually bringing back Judgment will destroy the game. And I will see what you have to say. Bye-bye, everyone.